All right, hey guys, I have a minute, so I wanted to come on and I wanted to talk a little bit about zombie cells, okay, because this is the latest and greatest in the skincare world. Everybody's talking about zombie cells. It's called cellular senescence, okay, and I encourage all of you to look into this, okay. And of course, they're pushing peptides and bullshit, more bullshit, okay? But they're not teaching you about the physiology. They're not teaching you about what is really happening and why, because they just want to sell you shit. They just want to pump you up full of shit and keep you, doing all of this crazy crap to yourself that can have some pretty negative side effects, some pretty bad downstream effects that may not affect you right now, but it's gonna catch up with you, okay? Because again, you can't screw Mother Nature for very long before she's gonna, fucking stick you to the wall, all right? So, just saying, all right? So, zombie cells, okay? These are the cells in your body that are dying, diseased, decaying, okay? But because they're not being gobbled up from your Pac-Man cells, which is the process of autophagy, because the overwhelming majority of people are in a constant state of glucose metabolism because they have a high carbohydrate diet. That is one of the main players. It's one of the main factors, okay, of preventing these cells from getting neutralized and metabolized and used up and eliminated from the body, broken down, okay? This is a huge problem, okay? And then being in chronic glucose metabolism also leads to glycation and a whole lot of other problems that I've done videos on this. I'm not gonna get into it specifically right now. It's too much to cover. I'm just gonna stick with skin for the moment, okay? But cellular senescence and these zombie cells are what start to pump out massive amounts of inflammatory chemicals. And oh gee, why does the body pump out inflammatory chemicals? They're signals. And what are they signals for? Fire trucks, policemen, EMTs, ambulance, anybody that can help, okay? That's what inflammation is. Inflammation is a signal that signals to your body, we need help. We need help. Come help us. We need help. We need help healing, okay? We need help to get broken down. Our cellular program is starting to short circuit because we've been living a little too long, okay? We've been around, hanging around a long time, and our program is starting to get rusty, and we need you to come and take us out of here before we start causing problems, right? Because we know once that glitchy program starts to take over, that's not a good thing. And if this inflammation keeps going on unabated, then you're going to end up with an awful lot of problems because that inflammation starts to create a lot of metabolic waste, okay? That metabolic waste, if it's not being cleared out quick enough, starts to build up and it creates this environment that is full of waste, which can injure neighboring cells that weren't zombie cells. You following me? Okay? The inflammation is not a bad thing. The inflammation is what these cells do. It's what happens is when you don't have enough fire trucks, you don't have enough equipment, you don't have enough people, you don't have enough Pac-Man to come and clear this out. Okay, this is the problem. And most people do not get into autophagy enough. And the autophagy system is basically your Pac-Man crew. This is the Pac-Man crew. They come in and they gobble up all the stuff that needs to be gobbled up. Okay, and this can be true of cancer and autoimmune disease. There's no such thing as autoimmune, by the way. That's, again, I've done videos on this in the past, and I've explained the raw biology and the raw physiology and the raw biochemistry of that whole word and why that word is just a misnomer. Okay, it was just created by the medical establishment to make people think that they're helpless because their body is attacking them. It's not true. It's not true at all, okay? Anyway, here nor there. The whole antibody thing has also been completely and utterly manipulated, the idea about it, to convince people of something that doesn't necessarily mean what they're telling you it means. Okay, so again, keep that in mind as well. So when you don't have enough of these Pac-Man crew, or they're not being activated. You have them, probably. They're just not being activated, okay? They're not able to do their job. And what activates the Pac-Man versus not activating them, one of the main players is what form of metabolism you are in. Are you in beta oxidation, ketone metabolism, or are you in glucose metabolism? Okay, with glucose metabolism, it basically slows that system way down, at times shuts it off completely, okay? Definitely it's like having the boot on your head, all right? Whereas going into fat metabolism, you have a low baseline autophagy all the time, and then because you don't have to eat as much, you're going hours and hours and hours without these chronic insulin spikes. You don't have all of this excess glucose constantly in your body that your body has to shuttle off to the cells, okay? So you have a lot more autophagy going on. You have a lot more of this cellular cleanup crew. This is why people are healing on keto diets, and they're shocked because they're healing very serious things that many people were told there was no cure for, there was no healing for them, okay? And they're experiencing it because they're kicking on their body's own self-healing mechanisms, okay? So when it comes to skincare, and if you want to look as young as possible without doing all of that modern stuff, and again, I don't care about trying to look like a caricature of my old self. I'm not interested in that. I just want to look as good as I can for my age. That's all I care about. So I take care of my skin. I eat a high-fat, animal-based, carnivore 99% of the time diet. I use animal fats on my skin. I use zinc oxide on my skin because zinc oxide is amazing, not just as a protection from the UV and the environment, but it's an incredible skin healer. And it also has a positive, incredible effect on these zombie cells as well. Okay, so again, you guys know I love zinc oxide. I can't say enough good things about it, okay? And I love my Kanza wand, okay? So this is a mini one, and unfortunately, I just bought another one, and it said mini, but then the small one came, it's bigger, it's got the longer handle, which I have no problem with, but I wanted the mini one, but anyway. I ended up getting one. I didn't bother setting it back though, because I'll still use it. But this has the mini handle. And this is really great for increasing circulation and just kind of sending some love to your skin. But remember, bringing all of this blood, oxygen, and nutrients isn't going to do squat for your zombie cells, okay? If you are not having enough autophagy happening in your body. So please keep that in mind. Now, you'll have a little bit more. And even just face massage alone can really help your skin. I don't mean to say that it won't, because you guys know I'm a big fan of it, okay? But you really want to pair it with the right metabolism. So that you're able to maximize autophagy and nutrients, fat soluble nutrients as well. Not to mention, each gram of fat gives you more than twice as much fuel for your mitochondria as glucose. So why the hell would you want to fill your body with glucose? It makes no sense. It legit makes no sense when you understand the physiology and the biochemistry. I really don't understand why anybody would do anything else. And for a menopausal woman, you need those ketones for your brain. If you don't have them, you're going to be screwed and you're going to think you need HRT. And that's the trick of the system, right? People believe that glucose metabolism is the way it's supposed to be, and now all of a sudden you're deficient in estrogen. You're not deficient. Your body's doing that on purpose. And it's for a very profound reason. It's because you're in the wrong system. You're in the wrong system, so you can't experience the benefits of menopause. I feel better going through menopause, actually. I feel amazing. I have felt calm the entire time. I actually feel amazing in a way, but that could also be because my youngest one is now, kind of adulting. And I don't have a lot of, I don't have a lot of stuff on my plate like I used to either. But all I can say is that I didn't go through any of that stuff that so many women talk about. Women's marriages get ruined. Families get ripped apart. Women fall apart because they're in the wrong operating system. They're in the wrong operating system. Their body has no ketones. their mitochondria are fucking starving. It's just really sad. It's really, really sad. And as women go through menopause, there's this abrupt shift where it's an estimate, but it's around 30% of your cells no longer will use glucose. It basically locks them out because glucose over time becomes very toxic to your cells and your body has to protect itself. So it starts to protect certain cells from dying from glucotoxicity. And what it does allow in though, ketones. Okay? It allows ketones in. All right? So fatty acid metabolism with ketones is ideal because it gets women through menopause quite easily, as long as you're doing other good things to your body and you're not like, wrecking your body. It's what the human body is designed for. Fat metabolism is not a backup system, it is our primary system, which is why the human body thrives on it. And every physiological system in our body actually thrives on fat metabolism, does not thrive on glucose metabolism. Okay, so the brain, when given a choice, will always choose ketones over glucose. You weren't told that, were you? And yes, there are a few cells in the body that do demand glucose because they are very low oxygen environments, okay, or no oxygen environments, where they can't utilize beta oxidation, okay, because that requires oxygen, but those are the only cells, all right? Other than that, all of your cells function so much better with ketones. But the problem is if you flood your body with both, well, you're flooding your body with fat. If you're flooding your body with fat and carbohydrates, once these things get into the body, your body has to choose the glucose because it has to get it the hell out of your bloodstream because it's toxic. And what will happen is it will start literally damaging your cells. That's why your insulin spikes, your insulin carts it right out of there, pumps it into the cell as fast as possible. Okay? That's how damaging it is to the body. So it is not a primary fuel. Okay, so for people saying that glucose is our primary fuel, that's like saying alcohol is our primary fuel. Because when you drink alcohol, your body prioritizes the alcohol over everything else. Shuts everything else down, prioritizes the alcohol. Why? Because if it doesn't, you'll die. People skip that part. It's very convenient. It's very convenient for the vegan agenda. It's very convenient for the agricultural system and the big pharma system, okay? So, I love this little wand. And yes, it can definitely turn your skin gray, depending on what you have on your skin, what your skin chemistry is. Some people say it's because of toxins. Nope, it's not. Could it be? Maybe. That's a possibility. But no, it can actually turn gray for a lot of reasons. It's just a chemical reaction, and that can happen with a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be a toxin, okay? But I have no gray right now. So, but I do usually encourage people after they use it to just take a clean, damp cloth and just wipe their face off a little bit, because this is a metal and it's supposed to be like bronze, or sometimes they're copper or whatever. I think it's a mix though. I think it's a mix of metals. And because they can interact with the oils on your skin, they can interact with the environment of your skin or whatever, it can sometimes leave a little bit of a cast. It's not a problem. You just wipe it off. It's not a bad thing, okay? And again, people will say that it is detoxing your skin, and there's no evidence for that because, again, it will react with something totally benign, something that is not toxic at all. You can get it to create that cast, okay? It's just a chemical reaction. But again, I'm not saying that it doesn't mean your skin isn't toxic. I'm just saying, generally speaking, it's not reliable. It's not reliable. And people will say, well, when I first did it, my skin turned that color and now it doesn't anymore. That could be for a lot of different reasons, okay? Your skin chemistry could have changed. There's a lot of reasons, okay? Doesn't necessarily mean it's from toxins. Okay, so anyway, I'm just giving my skin a little run through. Nothing on it. So it didn't have any of that reaction on my skin today. So that's a good thing, just because I don't have to, you know, take it off and I don't have to wash my cloth. And now I am going to go and just redo my skin one more time. So anyway, I wanted to do this as like a second part of that video that I did where I talked about zombie cells, HRT. I'm not talking about HRT today. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the skin and zombie cells and senescence, how to mitigate that to the best of your ability, and to realize that everything coming out in the anti-aging world and the whole HRT world is part of the transhuman reality, the cyborg agenda. If you don't understand that, then you have not done your research. And they're actually talking about it on the radio right now. So those of you that think I'm crazy, because I've been talking about this for 40 years, but I actually was driving home from visiting my mom, who's not here anymore. She passed away recently. Still dealing with that, still trying to let that sink in, because it's very, very intensely strange, and I'm still not completely settled with it yet. I'm still kind of in a very interesting place with it. Anyway, so I was driving home one night and I was listening to the radio, and it was a podcast interview with a guy from, you know, Silicon Valley and all that crap, talking about the cyborg revolution. It was outright putting it out there, putting it right out there on the fucking table. Like, this is not a secret anymore. So I'm sorry for those of you who don't know about it and think it's like sci-fi shit. Nope, it's real. And big pharma, the big food, the chemical industry, the cosmetic industry, the anti-aging industry, the beauty industry, they're all fucking in on it. They're all in on it because they're all the same people at the top. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for thought, and I'm going to be signing out for now.